Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for being here today. We were just going to give people a couple minutes to sign in, if you don't mind. And we're so glad you're here this evening. I'm Elaine, and I'm facilitating tonight. Uh, Kenny got stuck in traffic, and so he's just getting home and getting settled, and he'll join us a little later. Um, we can go ahead and introduce. Let's see. I see Melissa is here. She's part of DACWA, and Rob is our tech support, and Marcia is our guest speaker this evening. And I'm going to read this disclaimer that we read for every forum. So DACWA forums are non-professional by nature, meant for the sharing of mutual aid between its participants. The opinions expressed in meetings are strictly those of persons who give them. Participants are advised, I like this, to take what they liked and leave the rest, and consult with their medical professionals before taking specific actions. Again, thank you for being here, and I think we'll go ahead and get started. So tonight we're going to be talking about all things related to sleep. So tonight Marcia's going to talk about sleep hygiene, which is a new concept to me. We'll talk about choosing a mattress or overlay, and just tips on how to get a good night's sleep. So after Marcia speaks, we're just going to kind of open up the floor for discussion to see what works for all of you and what your best practices are. All right, well, this is Dr. Marcia Cutting, and she's part of DACWA, and she's going to talk about sleep hygiene. Take it away, Marcia.
Thank you. And I am not going to talk about mattresses. Y'all are going to talk about mattresses. That's outside of my department. Okay, so I am a psychologist, and insomnia is one thing that psychologists do treat. Obviously not with pills. Well, I guess some people might, but that's probably not ideal. Anyhow, let me start sharing my screen because I have a PowerPoint. So, the reason I'm asking when you have trouble going to sleep is to make a distinction between the different types of insomnia. And the reason that that is important is because they're treated differently. If you have trouble getting to bed when you getting to sleep when you first go to bed, that's called initial insomnia. If you're waking up in the middle of the night, that's called intermittent insomnia. And if you're waking up in the morning sooner than you want to, and there are no children or animals involved, that's early awakening. Okay. On top of that, there are two types of insomnia. And for some reason, I have these backwards. And I guess I'll go with it. Secondary is caused by factors such as pain, medication, depression. Sometimes maybe you have a really uncomfortable bed. I don't know. Oh yeah, if you have a problem with muscle spasms, that would be, and that's keeping you from getting to sleep. That would be secondary insomnia. And in that case, you need to seek out somebody who can correct whatever factor is making it hard for you to sleep. If it's pain, obviously that's your doctor. Medications often can be a problem. Again, probably your doctor. Depression, probably you want to see a therapist of some sort, or a psychiatrist if you want medications. But primary insomnia, which is what I'm going to talk about, is caused by factors that tend to be within your control. And there's pretty much a general consensus, at least among the psychiatrists that I've worked with, that primary insomnia should not be treated with medication. First of all, a lot of us are on enough medication as it is. And second of all, you're probably going to have much better results by treating the factors that are causing your primary depression, because you have control over that. And that's where we get into the wonderful world of sleep hygiene, which I think is one of the silliest terms I have ever heard, but that's the term in the field. Ah, yes. Okay. So here we have Pavlov and his. I like this cartoon. In case anyone can't read it, watch what I can make Pavlov do. As soon as I drool, he'll smile and write in his little book. And of course, that's a reference to Pavlov's work on conditioning, where he rang a bell and then gave the dog food. And pretty soon, all he had to do was ring the bell and the dog would start to drool. So we are, in effect, ideally, conditioning ourselves to go to sleep. And there are a lot of things that go into this. And by the way, this is not specific to people with spinal cord injuries. I do not have specific knowledge about how spinal cord injuries affect sleep. We tried to get the experts on that, and unfortunately, we couldn't. So you're kind of stuck with me. One of the things that helps you get to sleep is, to the extent that you can, a regular bedtime and awakening time. Again, your body just kind of gets used to that. And then you can kind of amp that up a bit by having a bedtime routine. A warm bath can help, a light snack. Again, we're talking about warm milk or foods that are high in the amino acid tryptophan, such as bananas, and of course the traditional Thanksgiving culprit, turkey. And then if there are relaxation activities that you enjoy, such as meditation or deep breathing or yoga, those also can help. And there's a lot of talk about melatonin, and I'm not an expert on that subject, but I do know that you do not want blue light. Blue is a component of most light, but it particularly is a component of your electronic devices, your computer, your cell phone. And I know at least on the iPhone, you can enable what's called night shift. And I would be very surprised if that were not also possible on Androids. And this person has scheduled it from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. Yeah. And so if you want to, I guess the ideal is not to keep using your electronic devices right up until you go to bed, but some of us do. And so if you're going to do that, enable the night shift. I don't know how to do that on a computer. I have it enabled on my iPad. Televisions also give off blue light. I know there are screens that you can get for your computer monitor to put over, and that screens out the blue light. There also are blue light glasses that you can get to screen out the blue light. And that's just, one thing that will help you be able to get to sleep more easily. Other factors that can affect sleep. Not all of us are able to get exercise, but if you can, that can really impact your sleep. It makes it much easier to sleep if you are getting some exercise, but during the day. Do not exercise right before you try to go to bed. Because that will, you'll be all revved up and it'll be hard to get to sleep. And I know the idea of avoiding caffeine for 4 to 6 hours before bedtime seems probably a little strict, but again, if you're having trouble sleeping, you might want to try it. Also, heavy, spicy foods within 4 to 6 hours of bedtime. I think all of these, they're not like hard and fast rules, but if you are having trouble getting to sleep, these are all things that are fairly simple to try and kind of worth taking a chance on, because they can't really harm you. Avoid alcohol within 4 to 6 hours of bedtime. And this is kind of interesting because alcohol is, of course, a drug, and all drugs have the intended effect, and then they go down and they have the opposite effect. So when you first take alcohol, you get sleepy, right? So it seems like it would make sense to make it easier to get to sleep. But no, because it makes you sleepy, and then you have the rebound effect, and boom, you're wide awake. So if you can avoid alcohol 4 to 6 hours before bedtime, it's going to help you out. Ideally, you avoid napping during the day. If that doesn't work for you, then maybe a short nap in the late afternoon. Is also something, I think they're sort of referring to something called a power nap, where what you really want to do is just get to sleep and then almost immediately wake up. That way you're not all groggy when you wake up, but you still get the effect of relaxing completely. And I think the last one is probably pretty obvious, a comfortable bed and bedding. If your bed and bedding are not comfortable, it's going to be harder to get to sleep. This may seem obvious, but make the bedroom as dark and noise-free as you can. The darkness really is important because our circadian, we are creatures with circadian rhythms, and we respond to light, and it tends to make us, obviously enough, wake up.
Marcia?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you explain what circadian rhythm is?
Sorry. Circadian refers to the way that our sleep and awake cycle responds to light. When it gets light out, we wake up, we want to be out and doing things. And often when it starts to get dark, we get kind of tired, and it's kind of a cue to go to bed. We, of course, have messed that up by having houses that can be light at all hours of the day. But it's worth thinking about that if you can make your bedroom really dark, it does make a difference. I was really surprised. I had just regular blinds and curtains in my bedroom, and somebody gave me some light darkening drapes, and I was amazed at the difference that it made. I could feel that I was definitely sleeping better, so I was grateful. A cool, not cold bedroom generally is most conducive to sleep. If you're too warm, it's hard to get to sleep because typically as we fall asleep, our body temperature drops just a little. And if it's too warm for that to happen, it's going to be harder to get to sleep. You don't want to be cold so that you're uncomfortable, but cool is kind of what you're aiming for. And worrying, if you have, if you find that you're going over and over stuff that you were upset about during the day, obviously that can keep you awake. And so I'm going to suggest another thing that sounds really silly, but you can try scheduling a worry time during the day. And you may want to write down your worries. Some people do that. Some people just can rehearse them in their heads, but only during that designated time. Maybe you decide that your worry time is going to be from, I don't know, 7. Well, let's see, what would be a good time? Yeah, I guess maybe from 6 to 6:20. I have 20 minutes to worry. That's a lot of worry. But during that time, you think about all the things that you're concerned about. And one nice thing about keeping a list is that very often the stuff that we worry about never happens. At least that's my experience. And then if you find yourself starting to worry at other times of the day, just kind of say to yourself, no, I'm going to put that aside. I'll think about that during the worry time. I'm not going to think about it now. And this is standard advice. It doesn't work for everyone. But in general, if you can't sleep, you want to get up. You don't want to stay in bed, trying to get comfortable and wiggling around and stuff. In part, we're talking about conditioning again. You want to think of your bed as a comfortable place where you're going to go to sleep. You don't want to think about your bed as a place where you're going to have trouble getting to sleep. So the standard advice is get up and go to another room and read until you feel sleepy. I realize for a lot of us, that really is not practical at all, especially if somebody else has to get you up. But if you didn't have a small snack before bed, try that. And again, of course, do not watch television or use the computer because we're trying not to get the blue light. We're trying not to have the stimulation that those provide. As I said, this is standard advice and it doesn't work for everyone. If it works for you, it's worth trying it to see if it works for you. But if it doesn't, so much for that. But again, as part of the conditioning thing, you want to, if possible, just use the bed and the bedroom for sleep and for sex. A lot of people get in the habit of reading before they go to sleep in bed, and often for 2 or 3 hours. If that works for you, I'm not going to say don't do it. I'm aware that there are a lot of women, in at least women and probably men too, for whom that's the only private time of the day. That's the only, my time. If that's the only time you get to read and you've always done that, and you can still get to sleep when you want to, don't worry about it. But I feel bad for college students who have to use their dorm rooms for pretty much everything. Really, it would be ideal if they could study someplace else so that they didn't, they didn't kind of reinforce that association between study and bed. And sleep apnea. I think a lot of us are much more familiar with this than we used to be. I'm here to tell you, we used to have this stereotype that people with sleep apnea were middle-aged white guys with thick necks. Well, I'm here to tell you that it is possible to have severe sleep apnea with only mild snoring and a normal-sized neck, because I have it. It has serious medical consequences, including an increased risk of stroke, high blood pressure, heart attack, diabetes, and obesity. It also has major consequences on the rest of your life because you're not getting the sleep that you need. I mean, without my CPAP, I wake up 37 times an hour on average. So I think it's safe to say I'm not really getting much sleep. And so then you're tired during the day, you can doze off while you're driving, which obviously is not good. So if you, sorry, I'm looking for the cursor. If you want a rough gauge of whether or not you have sleep apnea and you have a Fitbit, you may also be able to do this with an Apple Watch. I'm not sure, I haven't tried it because I already knew I had sleep apnea. But if you take your Fitbit and ask it to keep track of how long you sleep, then in the morning, compare that with how long you were in bed. And that will give you, if there's a discrepancy between the two, you really need to look into getting a sleep study or, and apparently it's possible to do that at home now. I think Kaiser does it at home, at least, if not other ones. CPAPs have a bad reputation. Most people, have this image of having your whole, mouth and nose covered, and they say, I could never do that. An awful lot of people don't have to use the full mask anymore. The machines are much quieter. You often would hardly even, hear them. And a lot of people can use something that's very similar to a nasal cannula. So, you wear this thing around your head and then it comes down under your nose. Obviously, you have to breathe through your nose rather than your mouth in order for that to work. But they do work for a lot of people. So it's worth a try. So I got through that really quickly. I didn't mean to rush, but if anybody has questions, I'm certainly happy to try and answer them. And I invite you to share, your knowledge of what has worked for you.
Marcia, this is Elaine, and I was wondering, can other things like sugar affect your ability to sleep? I know you said spicy foods, and I was just curious.
Yeah, I haven't found any research on that. I know we have this image of sugar is getting kids all hyped up.
Yeah,
The people that study this say it doesn't happen, but those are the same people that, studied admissions to emergency rooms during the full moon, and they say, no, there's not more traffic in ERs during the full moon. And everybody who works in an ER will tell you that, yes, there is.
yeah, yeah.
So
I
I don't
think it
know.
affects, yeah, different things affect different people, I'm sure. So, let's see. Rob, do you want to talk about your comment in the chat? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Sure, yeah, I was just saying, I did the sleep apnea test, on a Good Sam a few years ago, and they gave me the at-home one, and they told me before I did it that even if I pass as in not having it, it's inconclusive, and I'd be better off doing the in-person one. They said just because you pass doesn't mean you actually pass. Now, if you fail, then that's, you know, a good thing as far as confirmation, but if you pass, you still might have it, we just don't know. So it was kind of, I don't know, I felt like it was kind of a waste of time, to an extent, but
Yeah,
a complete night to go to the hospital and sleep there, I figured I'd give it a shot at home, so.
My sister-in-law used that strategy with her second husband. My brother died of a heart attack when he was very young, so she has a second husband. And he snored to beat the band, but he wouldn't believe her that he might have a problem. And so she asked him to use his Fitbit and compare. And when he saw the difference, that was enough to convince him to take it seriously. So there's that option.
are there any other questions? And if you do have one, if you could turn on your camera, that would be wonderful. If you can, sorry. There you are.
Hi. Hey, I was just going to talk a little bit about sleep aids, like over the counter or supplements. And I haven't had good luck with those because usually I feel very groggy and like I'm hungover in the morning. So I kind of shied away. And I've had insomnia for probably quite a while, mostly in the last 10 years. It's seems to be getting worse. But I have tried numerous supplements. I shy away from any prescriptions drugs, and so, but I just haven't found that supplement. I've tried some CBD gummies, which so sometimes they've worked, but then they quit working, and I don't want to take more. Or sometimes they upset my stomach because I eat fairly early, and then I stay up late, and then I take them, you know, an hour before I go to bed, and then they end up upsetting my stomach. And so just trying to find something that makes me sleepy. And Marcia, when you were talking about the 3 different types of insomnia, and I would say I'm probably in between the first and the second. You know, just yeah, I have high energy at night. So I'm one of those, a night owl, where I just get my second wind about 9 o'clock, and I'm like, you know, do my best work at night. So I was excited to hear what other people had to say about, you know, just what you had talked about, and see if there's anybody else that has any recommendations as far as sleep aids that don't require a prescription.
Yeah. I just want to add one thing, which is that I think we have this notion that we really need to sleep a certain number of hours, and we're not all the same. You know, I know people who do fine on 4 or 5 hours sleep, and that's what works for them. Other people need a lot more. The one sleep aid that, I mean, I have had sleep problems my entire life, until recently, when I can't get by with less than 12 hours sleep a day, which is its own nightmare. But anyhow, I have used melatonin, and I've been taking it for a decade or two, and I haven't tried not taking it, but it
I
always
tried it many years ago and I didn't have very good luck with it, but maybe I should try it again. That was quite some time ago when I tried different brands, and it just didn't seem to do anything for me.
Yeah, and I don't know a lot about it. If you do some research online, you can find information on it, and there are widely ranging amounts that you get. I typically try to take, I think it's 3 milligrams. I think that's what it is. I can't get it at Costco because all they sell is 5, and then you can get it less and you can get it more. And so, if you do some research and decide what you think might work best for you, that's an option.
I might give it a try again because it's been many years since I've tried any new brands. So that's a good recommendation. Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, I haven't heard of any bad side effects from it, so.
Okay.
I just looked, and I also take 3 milligrams, and it seems to work for me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Melissa. Are there any other recommendations for sleep aids? I know there are tinctures that, different CBD products, um, things like that. I don't know if, I don't want to out anyone who, some people, they use marijuana, to help relax, and there is absolutely no judgment here about that at all. So,
So I got something.
Jesse,
Yep.
yeah,
Uh,
please go.
it's an amino acid. It is called L, it's a letter L hyphen theanine. This is THY. I don't know the rest of it. But that is something that I have started taking this past year, and its goal, what or how it works, it's supposed to work, is to slow the mind down instead of having all these thoughts going around into your head. And what did I do? What didn't I do? It's just supposed to kind of help wind down, slowing down that always active mind. I've been taking a combination of that and amitriptyline, of course, right? Medication, lorazepam medication. And if I am in a really bad place, I do have Ambien, but I don't like to take it that often
Yeah.
because I was on that for like 12 years straight, and no one told me that that was an intermittent medication, not to be used more than a couple of weeks. But
Nice.
so that's kind of my regimen right there.
Can you say again what that was, Jesse? The first one?
Yeah, it's called L-theanine. So like L hyphen THY. I don't know the rest of the spelling. I'm sure it would pop up in Google.
Okay.
It's an
Kenny-
amino acid, I'm pretty sure.
Thyronine
Maybe.
Hey, hey guys, it's
or
Kenny.
thyroxine.
Yeah, I theanine is THEANINE, a compound that may support thinking, sleep, and relaxation.
You got it. That's
Yeah,
it.
I'll put a link to yeah,
Hey,
Is
Kenny, good to see you.
likewise, brother.
Yeah.
Is that a prescription medication?
No, it's an over the counter. You know,
Yeah.
like supplement you can order from whatever, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good to know. Thank you both for that.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the link. So that's wonderful. Good to hear new things.
Yes.
Rob, did you have something you were going to say?
Yeah, so I've never been a great sleeper to begin with. Like when I was younger, I'd listen to music, or whatever. And then after this, it's like, wow, I don't sleep, I was up till 3, 4 in the morning and be up a few hours later. And
Ooh.
I think it was 2, 3 years after my accident. I tried weed for the first time, and first couple of times not real great, but then somebody gave me one of the vape pen styles, and it took a really high percentage of THC. The CBD never did anything for me, but the THC, one shot, or not shot, but one puff basically at 95%, and I would normally be asleep pretty quick after that. And like you said, Marcia, with alcohol, it helps me get to sleep quick, but I'm up super early if I drink. So I haven't done the weed in several years. It's not legal where I'm at, but I did find I got a sleep number bed, and I learned something interesting about it because when I first got injured, I had to get a firm bed because I couldn't transfer onto a soft bed. And I've always slept in soft beds, like really soft beds.
Yeah.
And the sleep number, it can track kind of like a Fitbit and stuff. It tracks how you sleep. And I've watched it, and I've tried different settings from nearly super soft, you can't roll out of bed, to super firm. And I'm more comfortable at the softer level, like a 35. But in all my testing, I sleep better at a 55. So I've been, I found that kind of odd, but
Yeah.
I keep playing with different things, and I've been having a hard time again for the last, few months sleeping, but for the most part, I sleep pretty good. And I do half the stuff that you say not to do, spicy foods and stay up late, watch TV, but that's just how I've always been. So I mean, I ain't saying that is not an issue, but it's just that my routine. I watch my TV in bed. I don't really watch it anywhere else. I watch it as I go to bed. That's about it. And so I found though that the bed and, just being comfortable is key. And then like, I don't remember who said it, but somebody said it, like, my left side, I sleep differently if I sleep on my left versus my right. Like, I'll sleep more comfortably and longer if I'm sleeping on my right side for some reason than my left side. And I have no clue why that is, but it's just something I've noticed, you know, trying in the last few years. So that comfort is definitely a thing. And then, you know, just trying different beds and finding, or I mean, I know it's not easy to do, but you know, if you can find something that works, then that'll help.
Yeah. I saw somebody had a question about positioning.
Yeah, that was Patricia. Patricia,
Yeah.
did you want to ask your question?
Sorry, I muted so you wouldn't hear like all the background noise in my house. Yeah, I was like, I've heard people talking about like things that help them fall asleep. I was just wondering if people here find that they wake up because they get uncomfortable in the middle of the night, or do you wake up because you have some kind of a schedule for like having to shift your position?
This is Elaine, and I wake up again because of spasms. So it's usually telling me that I'm, you know, I need to change, you know, and turn on. There's no way I could sleep on my back because my legs would just go into a complete locking position. And yeah, which would not be good. So I just would sleep on my side, and when I start getting spasms, then it usually wakes me up. And you know, then I'll know to switch. But I sleep with a pillow between my
Mhm.
knees, and one behind my back, you know, one on my head. I mean, so I have a array of pillows that kind of help me position to
Mhm.
give me support. Does anybody else have any? Rob, were you saying about you sleeping on your left side?
Yeah, if I go to sleep on my left side, 99% of the time I'm up within a few hours and rolling over. But if I go to sleep on my right side, if I go to sleep on the right side, then I can sleep the whole straight night through. I don't know what the difference is about the sides, but that's just the way it's been for me for the last 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Everybody has a little bit different experience. I
Addie?
know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I know my son. We used to put him to bed on like one night on his left and one night on his right. But he kept having problems with his skin on his ear,
Oh,
and you know, on his ear, and sometimes on his elbow and his hip. But I didn't think he could sleep on his back. Then I went and I got some more training in postural care and like you know, getting people comfortable sleeping on their back. And so I'm like all excited. I'm like, Alex, here's everything I learned. And he was kind of excited about it. And I'm like, but I know you can't sleep on your back. So, you know, like, would you ever want to try it? Anyhow, he ended up wanting to try it. And it really helped a lot, because with the extra supports in place, he actually was able to be comfortable on his back where he never had been before. And it helped a lot of like his hip pain that he was having. He would wake up with the side that he was sleeping on was sore. So, you know, that obviously, you know, when you have a personal experience with something really being super helpful, it, you know, that kind of makes you excited to learn more and see if you can maybe help other people too.
I
Sure.
found when I was sleeping on when I was first injured, I was turning every 2 or 3 hours, and that was waking me up. And finally, after 10 years, I thought I'm just gonna I slept on my side forever. But after 10 years, I'm just gonna force myself to sleep on my back. And for 10 years, I've just stayed on my back. And I have a Tempur-Pedic mattress. I don't have any pressure sores or anything, but I don't wake up anymore because I don't turn, so I'm just laying there. But it's really difficult when you're used to sleeping on your side or your stomach to have to lay on your back. And now recently, the last year, I've been hearing my carriers, my husband, like, you're starting to snore, and it's because when your head's back and your mouth is open. So I'm like starting this stuff. I'm like, was that because I'm getting older, or I don't know why, but I think that's got to do with head position. But one thing I do wake up. I don't know anybody else that does this, and just weird, but I don't change my leg back at night. I keep it next to me, the 32 ounce. So I just have it on the bed next to me. So I've gotten to the point where I wake up automatically every 3 to 4 hours because I have someone empty it. And I just wake up and someone empties it and go right back to sleep. So I'm woken, I mean, I wake myself up. It must be in my, I don't know, in my head. I just wake up and then go right back to sleep. So I do wake up 2 or 3 times a night, but I go right back to sleep and it doesn't seem to bother me. But I think that really took some getting used to for a while.
With
I
the
had a question too, Elaine.
yeah, go ahead.
Patricia was talking about her son or just the pillows. I was wondering where the pillows, she uses the pillows that, because like you, Denise, I used to sleep on my sides all the time for many years. And then because of my hip issues, I had to sleep on my back, and it took a long time to get comfortable because I'm so used to moving. And when you're on your back, you're not really moving. And so I just found that was difficult to just sleep on your back all the time. But I'm just curious about, I do use a pillow underneath my knees, but I'm wondering, does anybody use pillows? I find that I'm getting a intense shoulder pain now. I'm dealing with my right shoulder, and that is what's waking me up quite a bit during the night. You know, if I do fall asleep, then I wake up with shoulder pain. But does anybody have any advice, like pillow wise, like where are you positioning the pillows for someone that, you know, sleeps on their back all the time?
Oh,
I just wanted to answer to the capacity that I can to Melissa's question, and this is very much
Okay.
at a student level. So Trisha's far and away the expert, but I did have a chance to see the setup in her son's room. She was kind enough to invite us to her home, and in addition to pillows, the posture care system that she has in place is things like rolled towels as well and blankets. So it's not just pillows. And my, again, student level understanding a lot of the times is that it allows for kind of more precise positioning that a pillow might not allow for, like so in your neck, like a rolled hand towel kind of thing. And it's put one of the systems that some folks have used that we were reading up on in our research was like what's the word, I'm losing it, the grip, like a grip mesh grip kind of thing that would be over the mattress, and then you can tape a rolled towel into position,
Okay.
and then you put the fitted sheet over top so that it stays in place. And so you position yourself in a way that, and again, it's completely, as you said, and no better than anyone, it's very individual specific, what works for everybody and their alignment and everything. But so it can be a common, I tend to ramble, I'm sorry, and I'm nervous, but it's a combination of pillows, but rolled up towels, foam wedges, a bunch of different things that will just be able to position people the most effectively and comfortably, and hopefully get a longer chunk of sleep at a given time.
And if you have
Yeah,
to
I
go
was
to the,
curious. Oh,
if
I'm
you have to go
sorry.
to a hospital, be sure and take pillows that work for you, because having been hospitalized twice in the past month and a half or so, I can guarantee you the hospital pillows will not. They're really squishy and they're
Yeah.
slippery. They're horrible. Right.
well, Jesse was talking about the different types of pillows uses. So towels, airplane pillows. Do they still give those? I used to like those. And
I've
then
used
Kenny,
pool noodles. Yeah, I've definitely used
yeah.
pool noodles.
Yeah.
How do you use those, Kenny? I'm interested in that.
I've run into some scoliosis problems like we all do when you've been in a chair for a while, and yeah, through I can't remember if it was through my wound nurse Molly Price up at Evergreen, or if it was Jennifer Hastings through seating stuff. They suggested like cutting a pool noodle in half and sliding it under my side. I tried it for a while. It wasn't very successful for me, but it's just another one of those kind of outside the box kind of ideas. Just going back to some of the previous questions, like Marcia and Elaine and a few people were touching on, like and Denise, I'm a warmer room guy. I get really cold. Especially, I've noticed at least there's a good mix that the thermostat just gets destroyed for spinal cord injury individuals. And but on top of the white noise and the noise machines, I've used a fan. I don't know if that was just my own throwback to my adrenaline junkie days to have like wind in my face kind of thing, but that was one of those things that really kind of calms the room down and me as well. So
Great, whatever works, geez.
Mhm.
To help you sleep better. Marcia, do you think, this is Elaine, do you think um age and, like I mentioned, menopause for women, do you think those are, different things that can affect your sleep?
Well, I mean, definitely menopause does. If you're sweating so much that you soak your nightgown in the bed sheets, obviously that is not at all conducive to sleep.
Mhm.
And that's something you probably need to talk to your doctor about. I don't know a lot about aging and sleep. I had always heard that old people needed less sleep. Well, it certainly hasn't been the case for me at all. I'm not really sure. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. It's okay.
Nancy dropped something in the chat about a new approach to dealing with sleep apnea by delivering a slight electrical stimulation to the muscles that relax too much.
yes.
Which is, I'm not familiar with that, but it's interesting. The other thing, Kenny, is that I had talked to a dentist at one point about he was going to make an appliance. I guess it'd be like kind of like a retainer or a mouth guard or something. And supposedly that would keep the passageway open, and then I wouldn't need the CPAP. But then it wasn't covered, by my insurance, and it was going to cost like $3,000. So that put it out of range for me. But if you can't wear the mask, then you can get your insurance to cover it. It would be a pretty relatively simple solution, I guess.
Yeah, and I actually know a guy that's had that surgery. For the implant that Nancy is talking about, his name's Glenn Dick, and he lives in Philadelphia. He had gotten it. I met him in 2016 or 17 in Las Vegas, and when I went out to see him in Philadelphia about 5 years ago, he had a big scar running down his neck. It wasn't massive or horrendous, but it was a decent scar. And what they do is they put an implant in somewhere that for him, his version of sleep apnea had to do with his tongue falling too far back in his throat. And so what it would do is there's some sort of sensor somehow so that when that happens, it would send a mild electric shock to his tongue. So it's make his tongue stick out. So it'd be like that. But he said it was a mixed bag because if it started to happen when he was halfway asleep, then that little shock was going to wake him up.
Of course.
Yeah, but he said it was a game changer for him at the same time, but it's got some, I wish I would have had the forethought to invite him on because he probably could give some great insight to it. Yeah, because there's like some way to turn it off. Like I don't know if it's a magnet or something like that you use, on a separate sensor just to kind of turn it off for a little bit so that when you do fall asleep, it doesn't, repeat that cycle. So I can't remember the name of it. If somebody finds that, I'll look for it on the internet to see if I can put it in the chat. So, but thanks for reminding us, Nancy.
Any other questions or comments that anyone, I see Dick Sage has joined us. Good to see you, Dick. If not, Kenny, do you have, or Marcia, Kenny, anyone have any final words?
Marcia, you got anything?
Not
Okay.
unless you want me to say something about the next event that we're working on.
Absolutely. You can talk about that and then I can touch on whatever else.
Okay. Well, what we're planning for the next event is going to be an in-person thing. And it's going to be, I don't know if you have heard about repair cafes, but oftentimes libraries or other civic organizations have them. And you can bring things that you have that aren't working. And rather than toss them away and get something new, they have people there that can fix them and get them working again for you. And so we're talking about bringing this concept to wheelchairs. And kind of the inspiration for it was the right to repair bill that we tried to get through the legislature this year and we failed, but we'll be back next year. And the idea is that an awful lot of us know people or are people who could fix our chairs if we could get a hold of the parts, the special tools, and the schematics. And right now they don't have to give those to us. So we're trying to get the law passed that says they would have to. And so as part of the thing to kind of drum up support for the idea, kind of show that it can work, we're talking about having a repair cafe, wheelchair repair cafe. So people could bring their wheelchairs and we would have people that kind of know basic preventive maintenance stuff and, you know, possibly fairly simple fixes. I know in my neck of the woods, there's an organization that like refurbishes power chairs and gives them to people. So I'm hoping I can get a few of those people to come. So that's going to be in July sometime, but I don't know that I think we still are debating dates as far as I know. So stay tuned.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Marsha.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing with the possibility of holding it somewhere down in Tacoma. We've talked about the Star Center possibly, or one of the wheelchair vendors that has just rolled over into another larger organization. But we'll keep you guys posted on that. And then our meetup is scheduled for September 21st and 22nd. And speaking of the living legend again, Jeremy Hanford's going to be our keynote speaker, and we're going to be working on all sorts of topics for that in the coming months. So, but all the registrations for all of those events should be live now. If you have any questions, hit us up on Facebook or the website. That's it.
Kenny, can you clarify about the 5K? I think I've always been kind of confused about if it's like a walk-a-thon, roll-a-thon, you know, if you have people, pledge money per mile or,
No, you just sign up. Like there's the overhead costs will get you, your t-shirt, your bib, and I think we're giving away buffs this year and a sticker and all that stuff. And we get a little bit of the money from that. And then, you can sign up to make your own fundraiser. It will link to Facebook so you could do that kind of fundraising if you wanted. But yeah, there's no like pledges or anything that we do per se. It's more, get people to sign up, and then you can create your own fundraisers either directly through Facebook, or you can make them like within the profile of Run Sign Up as well.
okay.
Yeah, and it's, we say run, walk, roll, pogo stick, unicycle. I don't care. Sit on your couch, just sign up and donate to the cause so that we can deliver more care baskets like I got to do today. So the floodgates have been opening, and I'm preaching to a lot of the choir right now that's on this group. But we got 20 states last year, and we're looking to get all 50. So I think we're off to about eight states. Addie can correct me if I'm wrong, but I did see a couple more registrations come through. So I think we got almost 400 people last year. So we'd love to, and we're shipping stuff everywhere. Like I think we did Alaska and Hawaii and all over the place. So I think we did Mexico a couple of years ago too. So
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yep.
So people sign up, they give their money to the cause and can do a fundraiser, and then either do it yourself or show up on the 24th of June.
Mhm.
Is that right? Okay. Just wanted to make sure I understood.
It's all on the web. It's all on the website too. It explains it all pretty well. And and we got a great video that we just put up that will kind of showcase what it's all about. A bunch of people having fun. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I see Rob put the website in chat. So thank you for clarifying about that. You have to write things in crayon sometimes for
No big
me to
deal.
understand.
No big deal.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. So, well, thank you everyone so much for attending tonight and for your wisdom. That's the best part of this group, is from hearing from other people and what works for them. And a special thank you to Marsha for talking about sleep hygiene. I really learned a lot, and this is a great group. So thank you all, and we'll be talking with you soon.
Thank you, Elaine, for facilitating.
Exactly.
Appreciate
Thank you.
For my
Bye.
Have a
laughing
good
problem.
night, everybody.
All right.